What's good everyone, Shurit here. So today I'm bringing you a Cyber Dragon deck profile. Yugi Nono would be proud, I hope at least. So let's get straight into the deck profile. So first up we play 3 copies of Cyber Dragon. Obviously you don't have to play 3 copies, it's down to personal preference. No it's not. Play 3 copies or risk getting executed for a crime against Yu-Gi-Oh! Let's put it like that. Cyber Dragon, obviously a really good card, just special summon it out. If your opponent controls a monster, you don't control the monster, but that rarely happens. Most of the time you're going to be using machine dupe to get into it, or using it from searching it off repair plant, discarding it for Galaxy Soldier, that kind of thing. But the free Cyber Dragon is necessary because at worst it's a 2100 beat stick that you can special summon. Next up, one of the best cards in the deck, if not the best card in the deck, we have 3 copies of Cyber Dragon Core. This is the card that really makes the deck work, being able to search your cyber repair plants, can't talk today, and being able to banish him from the graveyard, special summon a Cyber Dragon out. That's another way you can get access to your Cyber Dragon. Overall a really good card. I don't think it's a hard once per turn, so if you normal summon this twice, for example if you get your second normal summon off Seraph Knight, then I think you can search twice. Correct me if I'm wrong though in the comment section. Then next up for the one-off we have 1 copy of Cyber Dragon Dry. I only play 1 copy of Cyber Dragon Dry because it's not a really necessary, it's more of a nice add-on to the deck, being able to normal summon him, make everything level 5, have a bit easier access to Nova and then obviously Infinity. But 1 copy is enough. I found if I play 2 copies or 3 copies the deck does brick really easily, so 1 copy is enough. So overall that is 3 Cyber Dragon, 3 Core and 1 Dry, so that is 7 Cyber Dragon monsters in total. So then next up we have 3 copies of Galaxy Soldier. Now Galaxy Soldier is, in my opinion, one of the best cards in the deck. It really helps the deck out so much when you have a kind of awkward hand where you've got this in here and that in here and you don't really know what to do. Galaxy Soldier is just an easy route to get Infinity onto the board. If you, for example, have a Cyber Dragon stuck in hand or a Repair Plant and a Galaxy Soldier, then you can ditch the Cyber Dragon, special summon the Galaxy Soldier, get another search and then use Repair Plant to get a search because you've got a Cyber Dragon monster in the graveyard now, because repair plants activation requirement is that you have to have a Cyber Dragon in the graveyard. So obviously you can use that effect. Sometimes it is hard to get that Cyber Dragon into the graveyard to be able to use Repair Plant. A lot of the time you're going to have to normal summon Core, send away Core for a Link summon, or maybe you summon Dry again and then make both of them level 5, overlay them for Nova and Infinity. But a lot of the time you won't have that Cyber Dragon in the graveyard, and that's why sometimes on Brilliant Fusion you want to send the Cyber Dragon. But overall the Galaxy Soldier is really good, being able to put Cyber Dragon in the graveyard and give you easier access to your Nova and to your Infinity. Next up we have a questionable choice. I don't think you've seen this in many deck profiles. I'm pretty sure the only person who gives Cyber Dragons any attention is of course the Master of Cyber Dragons, Yugi Nono. However, let's see if he approves of this. We've got 3 copies of Honest. Now you guys are thinking Honest in Cyber Dragons, and then the second thought that comes to your mind, oh yeah, all the monsters are all light, and that's what I thought. So I put 3 Honest in, and I thought it really added a lot to the deck. I decided to play this deck a bit defensive, as you'll see later on. So I thought it'd be nice to have an offensive option and to have a couple more monsters in the deck, something that can obviously easily overpower your opponent. Obviously the Cyber Dragon monsters are fairly strong by themselves, but honestly just that extra bit to be able to push the game, because a lot of the time I found that I was stalling too long, it was taking too long, and then my opponent recovered. So honest is really good, and the fact that if your opponent attacks into your Cyber Dragon Infinity or into your Nova or any of your other light monsters, you can discard the Honest and then that monster will be destroyed in your opponent's turn is really good. It's really unexpected nowadays as well. A lot of people won't be expecting an Honest, especially if you're playing Cyber Dragons. So I think it's really good that the Honest is in there, because it's kind of like it's questionable, but once you see it in action you'll realise that, oh, Honest is actually really good and it's a nice addition to the deck. At least that's how I see it. So that's it for the 3 ofs and 2 ofs. We've just got a couple of 1-offs now. So first up, 1 copy of Jizukiru, the Star Destroying Kaiju. This is the only Kaiju I'm playing. I'm playing it because it's a cool combo to use some of the Fortress Dragon using Jizukiru after getting rid of one of your opponent's monsters. So essentially you've just got rid of their monster for free and got a Fortress Dragon onto your field. However, because Kaiju Slumber is limited and because Jizukiru is inherently a brick if you're going first, I only play 1 copy. It's just a nice addition to go second. In all honesty, you could probably cut it and cut the Fortress Dragon. It doesn't add too much to the deck, but it is another option you can go into. So I recommend playing it, but I totally understand if you want to cut it. I don't play any other Kaijus, just this one. Even when I put 2 Jizukeru in. It seemed to break, so I think one's enough. Next up, 1 copy of Gofu. It seems that every deck nowadays you have to have that 1 essential Gofu. It's kind of like a soul charge, where why wouldn't you want loads of monsters on your board for soul charge, and of course why wouldn't you want a link monster on your board with Gofu? So once again, I say it in every deck profile, but I seriously wish Gofu was that free. Konami will never listen to me, considering I've been begging for myself to come back after this for so long, but they don't listen to that, so God knows when Gofu's coming back. Maybe we're going to have to wait till 2030 until all these changes to the ban list will occur. So next up, we just play the Trick Clown, obviously for Brilliant Fusion. I don't really need to sit here for 5 minutes and stall the video talking about Trick Clown. And then Garnet. Garnet is of course for Brilliant Fusion. Amazing card, you want to draw it. That's the simple joke that's been going on right now, but obviously you don't want to draw it. Garnet is the worst, especially if you draw it with the Brilliant Fusion. And then finally we've got Maxi, because we have to play Maxi. Majority of the time you're going to discard it to be able to get the draws or to be able to stop your opponent, because I built this deck to go first or second, so I've got the Maxi for going first. I got some traps for going second, which I'll get for not for going second, for going first, which I'll get into after. But and then I've of course got the Honest for going second. I've got the Jizukeru for going second. So that's it for the monsters. There's not too many monsters, it's more spells and traps. I think that's about 18 monsters there. So next up we have 3 copies of Brilliant Fusion, because just like DZ, for some reason I can't leave a deck without Brilliant Fusion. I put it in my DDD deck profile, in my Invoke Lightsworn deck profile, and now in my Cyber Dragon deck profile, which have come out in the course of a week. So 3 deck profiles, all of them include Brilliant Fusion. Brilliant Fusion, I cannot stress enough, it is one of the best cards in the game right now. That double normal summon is so good for link summoning, and I really hope that Gem Knight Seraph Knight or Brilliant Fusion does not get hit, because it's such an amazing card and I don't know what I'd do without it, seriously. So 3 copies of Brilliant Fusion, pretty self-explanatory, but I wanted to add that little explanation in there. Next up we've got 3 copies of Cyber Repair Plan. Now Repair Plan, I don't know, 3 copies seems okay to me. You don't really brick too much with it. I haven't bricked with it at all, actually. You could cut it down to 2, in theory you could cut it down to 2, because obviously Core searches it, but it's nice to have that Cyber Repair Plan in hand if you haven't got the Core, because obviously you can discard a Cyber Dragon to summon Galaxy Soldier, and then Repair Plan is live. It is a hard once per turn, I believe, but 3 copies is fine. It's your main searcher in the deck, that's why I think you should play the 3 copies. Next up, another amazing card, Machine Duplication. You've seen it with Spirals, how much they abuse it, and this deck can abuse it. Obviously it is hard to get the Core and the Machine Dupe in hand, but we do play cards like Desires, which I'll get into next, to be able to get into the Machine Dupe. I don't brick with it at all, seriously. You could cut the Machine Dupe if you wanted, but I don't recommend it, because it's such a power play, being able to normal summon Core, search, or Repair Plan, activate Machine Dupe, and special summon 2 of the big Cyber Dragons. So overall I do recommend playing the full 3 copies of it, because you won't see it too often if you don't play the full 3 copies of it. Next up we play 3 copies of Pot of Desires. Now Pot of Desires, as I said in my previous deck profile, if you can't realise why it's so good in a deck like this, watch Yugi Nono's video first of all, that actually goes through an explanation of why Pot of Desires is good in Cyber Dragons, which is a bit of a coincidence, because I watched that yesterday. Really good video. I mentioned Yugi Nono so much I might as well put him in the description. I think I actually will put him in the description. But yeah, Pot of Desires, you're going to banish 10 cards off your deck that you're never really going to see anyways. Just as long as you don't banish too many good stuff, which rarely happens, because we play so many free ofs with the free Cyber Dragons, free Cores, free Galaxy Soldiers, free Honest, etc, etc. They're the main cards you need, and we play 3 copies of all of them. So Pot of Desires, it doesn't really cause any problem. Yeah, if you activate Pot of Desires, banish the Garnet, and then you draw into Brilliant Fusion, it's bad, but that's really the only bad thing that could happen with Pot of Desires in my opinion. So 3 copies, the full 3 copies, we need that consistency. Next up, once again for consistency, Upstart Goblin. Yeah, it's a bit annoying to give your opponent the 1000 life points, but I'd rather be playing the 39 card deck than the 40 card deck. Next up, 1 copy of Instant Fusion. A lot of people will think this is just for Panzer Dragon, but I'll get into another reason why I play Instant Fusion. It's a bit of a questionable choice, but hopefully you guys will understand my explanation later on. Next up, 1 copy of Soul Charge. Being able to just Soul Charge back, get your Infinity out, get your other monsters out in the extra deck, which I will go into later. It's just overall so good. Soul Charge is such an amazing card. There's really not much I can say about it. I can't praise it enough. Next up, 3 copies of Evenly Matched. I love this card so much. Being able to go second with Cyber Dragons, drop Evenly Matched, and then just spam your infinities onto the board. No, well, not infinities, your infinities and your chimera techs and stuff like that. Push for game is so amazing. Evenly matched against you is a devil. Evenly matched with you is a god. I'll put it like that. That's probably the best way I can put it. But evenly matched is so amazing. I love the card so much. Next up, 3 copies of Solemn Strike. Solemn Strike, of course, for going first. I put the evenly matched in there for going second, and Solemn Strike for going first, because we want that extra negation with infinity. And that's the same concept with the next card, which is 1 copy of Solemn Warning. Tried to make this deck have as many ultimate rares as possible in it. It seems that way, but yeah. Solemn Warning, same concept as Solemn Strike. It is probably the better version of Solemn Strike, hence why it's limited. And then next up for the extra deck, we played 2 copies of Chimera Tech Mega Fleet Dragon. Mega Fleet Dragon is amazing. I can't believe that Konami came up with such a good card for Cyber Dragons. The fact that you can use your opponent's link monsters, and the minimum attack it's going to have is 2400. If you used a monster in your link space, a monster in your opponent's link zone, and then Cyber Dragon, of course, you're going to have a 3600 attack point monster, which is obviously amazing to be able to beat down your opponent. But the fact that it's a minimum of 2400 attack points and it gets rid of your opponent's link monster is so good. Next up for the other fusion, 1 Fortress Dragon. If you're going to cut Jizukuru, I probably would tell you to cut this, because the only time you ever summon this is the Jizukuru play, because you don't want your opponent to keep the Jizukuru. But yeah, you could summon it in theory using a bunch of Cyber Dragons on your field if you're trying to push for game that badly and you need attack points, but it rarely does come up. Next up, Seraph Knight, obviously for Brilliant Fusion, and here we have Sea Monster of Memius. That's probably the name he deserves, because the amount of memes that everybody posts about Theseus, especially Farfa, is so funny. But yeah, I actually play Sea Monster Theseus because I like the Ultimate Izalkin play with Crystal Wing, because I will find that I have the zones ready for that because I have the link monsters on the field. So a lot of the time that instant fusion can get me into a Crystal Wing, and you guys know how much I love Crystal Wing. So we're not just playing Theseus for the memes, there actually is some theory behind that. Next up, we play 1 copy of Panzer Dragon. Panzer Dragon is just a kind of a card that you can out stuff. So if you can activate instant fusion, get rid of your opponent's monster once Panzer Dragon blows up in the end phase, because of its effect. When it's destroyed, it destroys a card on the field. But a lot of the time you will have to use this to summon your infinity, because if you've drawn the instant fusion and then you've got a kind of awkward hand, instant fusion does help to be able to summon the infinity. Next up for Synchros, we played the Ultimate Izalkin, obviously to summon the Crystal Wing. And then next up, we obviously played the 1 copy of Crystal Wing. Crystal Wing, amazing card, being able to gain attack points, being able to easily push for game, putting the negation up. If you manage to get an infinity, a Crystal Wing onto the field, I'm pretty sure you've won, unless your opponent has some super dodgy card to get rid of them, or they have 2 negations and then a Regeki, for example. So they basically need Regeki, Dark Hole and Kaiju Slumber to get rid of that board. So Crystal Wing, amazing card. Next up, 2 copies of Cyber Dragon Infinity, being able to absorb your opponent's monsters, and of course being able to put up that negation. It's so easy to summon with the Galaxy Soldiers, is really, really good. And then next up, we played 2 copies of Cyber Dragon Nova. Cyber Dragon Nova, obviously much better in the Cyber Dragon deck, because it can bring back the Cyber Dragon monsters in comparison to a deck that just runs Galaxy Soldiers to summon Infinity, like Blue Eyes, for example. But Cyber Dragon Nova is most of the time the underneath material for Cyber Dragon Infinity. And then finally, for the Link monsters, 1 copy of Borrowload Dragon. A lot of the time, I'll be wanting to swap zones. If Decode Talker's in one, then I'll use like a core in the Decode Talker to summon the Borrowload, put him in the other zone, so that I can put another extra deck monster into onto my board. And then next up, we have Decode Talker. Decode Talker I use for gold free. It's probably the best generic link free. There's still not really that many good generic link frees that point downwards. We've got Trigate that point sideways though, so Decode Talker. And then finally we've got Proxy Dragon, because we need the Proxy Dragon to go into the Decode Talker, and Proxy Dragon is overall a decent card. So that's it for the deck profile. I hope you guys really enjoyed it. I hope you guys like the honest tech, because that is really what I think makes this deck unique in comparison to some other Cyber Dragon deck profiles. Maybe you guys think the honest tech isn't very good. I don't know. Give me your thoughts in the comment section. Be sure to share the video, because that's really all I care about. Sharing the video and commenting, the 2 things. You can dislike the video you like, but sharing the video, the exposure, that's really what I care about. Even the ad revenue, I don't care if you click on ads or anything, just share the video. So thank you guys for watching. Make sure as many people can see this deck profile as possible. This has been Shurit. Peace.